All right, so before this video actually starts, I just now recorded this, but the interview that I did with WMX99, link in the description for his channel. I did this like over a couple weeks ago, but one of my hard drives crashed, and I sent it off to a friend of mine, and they actually recovered the data and then put it all onto a new hard drive for me. So I just got that back, and I really want to post up this this interview because we had a long conversation about. We touched a lot of different stuff in the crypto space. He's got an AMP miner and that kind of thing, but you'll see. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of context because what we're talking about price-wise may not exactly make sense right now, because when we talked, it was like, you know, everything was down in the toilet, and right now everything's kind of going back up. So now that you got that little bit of background, let's let the little interview roll. So, oh, and if you're interested in trying to be in one of these like GPU miner or Bitcoin miner interviews, just drop me a email. My email will be in the description below. I'd like to do these more often. So yeah, thank you. Let's go. All right, what is up, guys? This is Brandon with Brandoncoin, and I am back. This is going to be a little bit different than the average videos. I'm kind of picking up on what I left off on. I said I was going to try to do one like every other week, but obviously I haven't been able to. This is the like interviewing some miners from around the country. This is actually, he's become a good friend of mine. We've been talking back and forth for a while, but this is Joe, and he's kind of dabbled in the ASIC, or as the GPU guys say, the dark side of the world. So Joe, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Joe, also WMX99 on my YouTube channel, and I got into, Bitcoin just as a hobbyist, for fun, and started with 3, GPUs, and then just to see kind of where it would go, and next thing you know, started going parabolic, and it was like, whoa, this is, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like, a few $100 a month, maybe, if that. And but then I started learning about the technology and everything behind different types of crypto. Obviously started with Bitcoin, but then learning about the Ethereum technologies and everything else, and really started diving into it. And so my channel is more technology based. Routing, switching, voice, video, nerdy stuff, pretty much.
Yeah.
But with the cryptocurrencies being technology related, I thought I'd just throw out kind of like a vlog, like here's what it is, and then all of a sudden there was a ton of interest from a lot of different people. So I've been kind of doing a kind of offshoot, just doing more similar to what you're doing, but not as frequently, and just showing exactly how casual mining's doing for me.
Definitely. And I'm actually on my screen. You can't see it on your side, but I have pulled up your YouTube page, and the link for his page will be down below. And it looks like you've actually shot up quite a bit since we even first started talking. You were in like the 2,000 subscriber range, and now you're at like almost 3,700. You're going to be closing in on 4,000 in no time. Let's see here. You did one of the videos that I was you did like a review of your financial risk year-end update of 2017. That's where you went through and actually broke down everything. But the biggest thing I was interested in is, when did you get your Antminer S9, and like how was the buy procedure? Did you buy from Bitmain directly?
No, so I am not an at-risk. I don't invest in anything. And when I got into Bitcoin, it was one of those things where I used the cards that I had, and whatever profits I got, then I would buy more GPUs with it. But I broke from that for the ASIC, because at the time, I mean, when it goes from 2,000 to 20,000, it's like, well, there seems to be a pretty good future there. So I think I got a little overconfident, and you couldn't find them anywhere. I mean, they're sold out everywhere. So I ended up going the eBay route. Got a 13.5 terahash. And it was toward the middle of January. I think actually when I was donating on your channel with it, it was like I've only had it 4 days.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So because at that point it was within the first week I make profits, and then everything else, or the first week covers the costs, and then everything else was profit. So I would start donating on weekends just to try to get other people involved with it. But yeah, then it kind of tanked. And I spent like I think 4,700.
4,700. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So currently my ROI is looking at I think like 500 days or something.
500 days, yeah. But
Yeah.
in the heyday when you first got it and it was like absolutely doing great. I don't remember what it was when you were donating, but
Oh yeah.
one day was like how much? A Bitcoin and US dollar.
Well, at that time it was anywhere between $20 and $30 a day. And previously, when the video I made back in August, I was actually using two Avalon 741s. A buddy of mine got into Bitcoin, and he bought like 20 of those ASICs.
Mm-hmm.
So he let me borrow a few. And back then, when I was mining, per block you'd get over 100,000 satoshis per block. And you would find a block, every, sometimes, a couple every hour, whatever. I mean, it was like extremely profitable. Within less than 6 months, I had almost a full Bitcoin just with that alone. Well, now it's like a little over 5,000 satoshis per block.
Yeah, it's definitely gone way down. Not just on the Bitcoin side of things, but in everything, all the altcoins, everything. The difficulty's gone through the roof. The value's gone down. It's a recipe for like it's scaring a lot of people off, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I do enjoy sharing it with new people. And when it was crazy profitable, it was really easy for people to get into it. And if they're doing that at a very small scale, it is low risk. There's so many times that I'll waste a couple $100 on something, and then it's like I could have put that towards something useful. So
Sure.
yeah, I'm sure you probably get it. Do you get a lot of people that ask you like, why do you still even mess with it, or you just cut it off? And
Yeah, well, and I guess that's another thing I should mention. My primary reason for getting it in the first place wasn't for profit. It was to fully support the Bitcoin network because I've been running a full node for a long time.
oh, okay.
And that's what's cool because when you pull up the console, you can when you're learning about blockchain technology, you hear about Merkle roots, headers, different transaction IDs. And when I was researching like the transaction ID malleability, then diving into how unspent transaction outputs work. Well, with the full node, you can actually look at all the block headers. You can see the mempool, right on your own system. And so I was diving into that, and I'm like, man, that's really cool. And so then by getting the AMP miner, I'm not a fan of Bitmain either, but it's the most efficient and for the power and everything. So, but then it's cool because then you can look at the statistics there to see what block it's working on and comparing those, the output from the command line in the full node. So it's kind of also just for learning to really get deep dive into the technical side, and that's I think probably the next type of videos I'm going to be doing in regard to ASIC mining is for those that want to get into the weeds from the technical and see the actual output, see it working, see everything in action in real time.
See the behind the scenes that a lot of people they talk about, but they never actually show or look at. I don't think I've ran across any channels that are doing much of that at all. So it would definitely be interesting. So are you doing any GPU mining still? I know you you did have some systems, but are you decommissioning some and in arrival for the new cards or?
Yeah, so when I when I got into it, I was buying them. Well, and actually, so I got in end of May, very beginning of June 2017, and I had a GTX 1080 EVGA, a GTX 980, and I believe 1070, and I guess I'm more of a gamer, so most of the cards that I like to have anyway are I guess that's my one splurge. It used to be scuba diving, but now that I have a 2-year-old, don't really have time to blow holes, so to speak. So so I got into virtual reality, and so at the time the 1080s were because everyone was buying 1060s and 70s, but the 1080s were the most popular, so that's pretty much what I loaded up on that, some Titan XPs. But the 1070 systems, because if Bitcoin were to go to zero tomorrow, like what cards do I still want to use? Like if it's over.
Yeah.
And really, the 1080s for the VR and everything are what I want. So I'm getting rid of a couple of my. I have 4 GPUs, two 1070s, and 270 Ti's, and I'm essentially just going to replace them with 1080 Ti's and decommission that one.
Oh, okay.
But again, that's because if mining becomes nothing, I've got use cases for the higher end cards.
Definitely. They are still usable. That's what all my friends joke about. They're like, "What are you gonna do if it all goes to zero tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Well, on the highly unlikely chance that it does all go to zero tomorrow, I could actually build out a lot of computers for some people, and it seems like I could be slapping graphics cards and stuff into everything. But obviously, they do have some intrinsic value. I don't think we're ever gonna see 1080s go down to because I read, I get all these comments and. Somebody's like, oh, you're going to be crying when 1080s are worth $100. I don't think it's going to be, 10 plus generations out before you can't even get it. Like I was looking back at the old 680s and stuff, and people still hold, there's still a value there, and they're useless for mining, but they still have a value. So I don't think nothing's going to zero like they say it is, and they will always have some kind of value. Are you at all nervous about buying more of the current series card when there's so many rumors of new ones around the corner?
Well, no, because I only buy with profit. To this day, I've got over 10,000. Technically, if I paid out, it was over $10,000 worth of cards, but I didn't invest in anything. I started with the 3 cards I already had. I did it reverse. So I'm already at the ROI. And I guess, it's still an exception, but on one of my credit cards, you get those double points or whatever. I never use those things, and I saw that the other day in EVGA was, they had the 4 that win 3 on sale, like $1,000.
Yeah.
But I ended up points for it, so I was just like, I'll just use my points. Why not? I'm going to make it up eventually anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
right
definitely.
Now, yeah. But other than that most recent transaction, which was just the other day, everything. I even showed in one of my videos where my first GPU, the 1080 Ti MSI, I bought with Bitcoin Direct on Newegg for 0.33, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of Bitcoin. If we see now, like, what? You spent that much? But at the time, it was only worth 2,000. But then on the flip side, in December, I spent 0.17 or something like that for a Titan V.
Oh wow!
So,
yeah. That's where the Bitcoin value.
I focus on the Bitcoin. So, and that's another thing is whenever the price goes, up, that's when I'll take a little off the top. Do you have BitPay or?
I have a Shift card, or it's Shift, the Visa card.
Yeah, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, hold on. Yep. Same exact one. How's BitPay compared to Shift?
Well, it's basically. I've heard some people say they have problems with it, but BitPay is basically just a prepaid Visa card.
Oh, okay.
So you just load it up with Visa, and that's actually what I started with, because that's actually how I pay my electrical bill. I'll basically, I try to watch the charts, I'm not heavy into it, but obviously the goal is to spend as little amount of Bitcoin as possible, so when the prices are high, that's when I'll take a little off to, load up the cart, and I always have a 1 month buffer, so to speak, so I have some wiggle room to play around with when the prices fluctuate. But that way, then I have autopay set up on my electrical, so it just takes it right off from there, and then any leftover I put into the hardware wallet.
Okay.
The PP hardware wallet. So.
Okay, I have a Trezor. I bought my Trezor when I first got into it. I wish I would have done a little research. It has done phenomenal for me, but I wanted more options for more storage because currently right now it's very limited compared to other wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw. I always heard Trezor and NanoS, all those all the time, but this one it seemed, with the when you put in a pin, it scrambles every time, so you have to be looking, right at the device, and then if you get it wrong, it reshifts it. And there's just like a lot of little features like that that I liked from a security standpoint. Why I wanted to go with it, and but yeah.
Okay. Well, I did want to just touch back on one thing that you did say, because I get that all the time. They're like, why are you currently always investing in, buying more cards? Because I just bought another RX 560, just kind of testing the waters on the AMD cards, because I have a 580 and I had a different model 560, and I was just kind of experimenting. But people are like, why are you buying these things right now? But that's one thing that I've done with my systems is I just let them pay for the next thing. And then you don't. It doesn't necessarily hurt as bad. You buy a couple $100 card here, there, save up and get some other stuff like the two 1080s that I bought. When I bought those, I've kind of flushed out. It was when we had that little resurgence and Bitcoin, went down real hard, and then it came up and hovered around 10,000. I think early February maybe, and that's when I pulled the trigger on the two 1080s because I'm like, Bitcoin's at 10. That's probably a good time to buy. But it's not pulling because I work a day job. I'm in construction, so couldn't normally just be able to afford to go buy graphics cards all the time every day because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you live at your parents' house, you don't have any bills. Well, I do have a mortgage, I have a little house, I have a truck, I have a car. There are definitely bills, and like a lot of people that come over from my car channel, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you do your cars and this? But one thing that has helped out a lot for me, and I don't know if you've actually tried, but the monetization on my car channel was approved years ago, and I've been paid out from that. I've been struggling to try to get monetization approved on my Bitcoin channel. It's still not approved. I was going to ask if yours is.
Yeah, but my channel, I mean, I've had it for like 10 years. I mean, goes
way back, yeah.
And I only start, and I don't, maybe it's because they're a cryptocurrency channel, and they're, with the whole BitConnect ad thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has something to do with it, but because I mean, well, and here's the thing is, of course, I only started monetization end of November of 2016 because one of the things I have is I do a lot of technical, like I say, I was doing technical tutorials, and so I have a home lab that I do a lot of my stuff, and then I opened up my home lab for free public access, so people watching the channel, if they don't have their own lab, they can do it. So I turned on monetization then to try to supplement, since I'm running all my servers 24/7 type thing.
Yeah.
But then ironically, once I got into the Bitcoin, now that's paying for all the electrical. But I mean, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's like barely $100 a month with, I don't know. Well, I think they're big on watch time. I don't know, it's like, I think anywhere between, I don't know, offhand, it's like 400,000 watch time minutes or something.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I'm way over the goals that it requires, and I've emailed them back and forth. They're pretty gray, or on the details of why I'm not monetized yet. They said by the end of April it should be, and a lot of people, they'll comment down below. They're like, why do you not have ads? When I applied for monetization on my car channel, it was instant. I mean, like in 1 week, I got approved for an AdSense account. I got approved for monetization. It was no issues. But I think it's definitely because this channel is primarily cryptocurrency based, and I think they're really kind of watching their steps on all that, which is unfortunate because if I could have had the payouts, because I know roughly what I get paid out on my car channel. If I apply that to what the views that I've gotten and watch time I've gotten on the cryptocurrency stuff, I could definitely have grown my farm bigger. And that's that's the ultimate goal: give as much information as possible and get the farm bigger to just keep rolling the ball. Like a lot of people are like, where are you gonna stop? And the ultimate goal is why would I stop? I would just keep going.
Right.
I'm young. I have plenty of time to make mistakes, and I don't necessarily think this is a very big one.
No. Well, and for me, like try to. I'm technically I'm maxed out from a power and heat standpoint, so I can't really expand. That's another reason, because if maybe if I had a better heat power management solution.
Yeah.
And not a 2-year-old, because that's why I have 2 of mine in server cases. Is because he loves fans and lights, and so he sees the open air rigs and he's like, fan. And,
oh yeah.
He's always wanted to play with that, so try to keep them out of sight. But and that's another thing is this. I mean, last summer it was my. I mean, my bill got over $700 just with the chunk of that just being AC. And that was like 6 cards. So
yeah,
I have
yeah.
15 right now, and so I'm taking advantage of the cooler air, weather, because I just opened the window and it's all good. But yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not really going to be expanding much. I mean, I'd like to, but I'm also kind of at that point where it's still profitable every month. I'm still saving Bitcoin and I'm paying off bills, but I'm not, or electrical bill, I should say. But I would have to find I'd have to get a shed or a garage or something where I could actually start building out safely. I've got some dedicated 20 amp circuits, but I mean they're pretty much maxed out at this point. And the noise.
Yeah, yeah. Those ASICs are not quiet, are they? They're pretty loud. Yeah, that's one thing. I moved everything. I have a bonus room upstairs, and if you've seen, I've moved everything upstairs, and I'm gonna be sealing that room off. I've started already. I've put the system in that's pulling the heat off, and then I'm gonna put another pusher fan to pull outside area, and basically just to keep it like a wind tunnel in there. But I'm still only limited. I ran. It had 2 different breakers, 20 amp breakers, already in that room wired up, and now I've run another 2 into there. Because it was really easy. The other side of my top of my house was just attic, so I could actually get behind the wall, run me some wire. I had a friend help me, but that still limits me, like, theoretically, to like right at 7,000 and some change watts, and that's not going to be enough. So the next step for me, because a lot of people ask, what are you going to do? And the shed idea, like I think Voscoin, he's done it, and a couple other people have. I really like getting it out of my house just in case of a fire hazard. Like if it burns to the ground outside away from my house, I have no problem with it. I just don't want my house to burn down. So yeah, the heat is definitely a big problem, because right now I have that room open and it definitely makes a big difference inside my house. I can only imagine if you have everything on your ground floor. I only had 2 systems on my ground floor at one time, and it was noticeable, like one in one room, one in the other. Those rooms were like toasty.
Yep. Yeah, I have a walkout basement, and I have it down there, but even so, it's kind of funny because it messes up the thermostat's like up the stairs right on the kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
And that heat goes right up, so like the upstairs will be like freezing because the main level thinks it's warmer.
Yeah.
But I think too, it also depends for, especially people getting into it. It's like, what is your what's your objective of getting into it? I mean, for me, it's casual. I mean, it's fun. I like learning about the technology. But I think, no matter, I think a good expectation is to understand it's a long-term game. It's not a get-rich-quick. Even though when I got in, I mean, technically, it went. Within 6 months, it went from 2,000 to 20,000, but I mean that's an anomaly. There's a lot of speculation getting in, like with Wall Street, starting to get involved. There was lots of, there's going to be big money coming in. So there was a lot of speculation opposed to actual use case as far as where that came from. But I think long term, I mean that's why I actually use Bitcoin daily. I mean, they say HODL and stuff, which is good, but I also use it because that was the thing, is there's so many practical use cases. I've used Expedia. I got a hotel room.
Oh, okay, yeah.
With Expedia, with Bitcoin, no problem. Didn't have any transaction delay issues. I did initially, but now with the SegWit and Lightning. But again, if you have a Shift or BitPay card, I mean that kind of throws those arguments out the window if you use those.
Yeah.
Because as long as you keep a little bit of balance on there, I mean you can use that instantly. I mean,
Instant,
it's already ready to go, just like a regular Visa.
I have noticed since the SegWit and the whole update to the Bitcoin system,
Mm-hmm.
like my transaction fees are pennies now. Um,
7 cent. Yep.
yeah, so I definitely I hold a lot of my coin, especially I hold a lot of my altcoins. I use my Bitcoin more fluid than anything. But that was actually brings up another question. Do you convert everything over to Bitcoin or do you hold any alts? No altcoins, no.
Well, I used to.
Yeah.
So like I used to use Poloniex with Zcash, and when I was borrowing the Avalon miners, I was mining a lot of pure coin, uh, because at the time Bitcoin didn't. That was just before it started really taking off. And so, but then I would do a lot of my own conversions, and that was actually very profitable to do that. But with the new 2018 tax laws, anything that I do myself, that's a taxable
Taxable
subject
event,
to,
yeah.
yeah, to 40% short-term capital gains unless I hold it for a year. And so I'm using Node40.com right now. I got a CPA. I'm meeting with him later this end of this week on Friday, to go over all that. So I'm gonna see what the damage is. But the thing is, it's pretty complicated even with that, because when you, let's say, if you got Bitcoin on uh, the first of the month, whatever that price is, you have to pay a tax on that, and then if you cash out, you have to figure out what the difference is between when you received it to when you cashed it out, to figure out the capital gains on that, and then technically that transaction can also be taxed. So it's almost like you get triple dipped
Yeah.
with the minimal regulation. So I'm actually for regulation in this regard, because right now they treat it as a property and security. And so they basically have their cake and eat it too, as far as, I mean, they pretty much take,
Almost all of it.
80% if you, yeah, if you don't do it right. So that's why I'm trying to, get that done right. And then, so if I hold other coins and switch, then it's just gonna make it
It's not
way down
profitable.
way for my, yeah. And for
Yeah.
me, like say, I'm a casual miner. I'm not doing this as a business or anything. Though I did start an LLC to do all my crypto through a business, to use an S corp, so I can take an extra 20% off. Like I don't have to claim as much. So I'm kind of going that route going forward. Because you don't want to mess with the IRS. I mean, they can garnish your wages, and
That can ruin
even
you,
if they
yeah.
suspect you of doing any funny business. So that's why I'm like, I didn't expect it to go up to 20,000, but I was thinking, if it's going to go up that high, 50, 100, there's different speculation on where it could go, but if it actually literally does, I want to make sure that it's done right. So otherwise I would, but Bitcoin's really, from a technical standpoint, tested tried and true from the network, how it works. That's really the only one that I'm 100% all in on, so to speak. I mean, because I like Ethereum and what it has to do, but I mean, it's very buggy. There's been a lot of programming errors and hacks based on simple mistakes, and that's just kind of like because it's so new. When it's and then like Vitalik was able to, like with the DAO hack, was able to single-handedly roll back the blockchain, without any consensus. If you don't care about consensus, then but me, I kind of like the community open, decentralized aspect of things, and that was a little too central for me, and it's something they can do again. But I think long term, I mean, there's a ton of potential there. It's just not something I would invest in or right now anyway. But once they, and a lot of the ERC20 tokens that run on top of Ethereum, they're proof of concepts. Like most of them don't even really have a working or functional product around it. So that's another thing, is they're cool ideas, but some even only have one developer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's cool. I'm watching that stuff really close. It's just not something I would invest in to support at this point.
Yeah, I get tons of emails asking if I want to look at this or review that, and Yeah, a lot. 99% of them are all these like tokens that have one guy behind the scenes, and they're trying. They have these big goals and big ambitions, but um, there's a lot of room for error and a lot of room for money to be lost in those aspects. So the whole that whole end of it, I try to stay away from it. And as for the tax stuff, the that's one thing that I had changed up a lot from when the new tax, January of this year. So I used to flip my money around a little bit, and I would use Binance, and also I had a Poloniex account and also a Cryptopia account, and I have pretty much gone to not touching them anymore.
Yep.
Because I just don't want to be at risk for all. They're talking about taxing it when it, say if you move it from wallet to Poloniex, there's a taxable event right there just to move your money. And then then when you switch it, that's taxable event, and then to get it back, taxable event. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to be caught up in that. So I'm really looking forward to. I think they said the whole G20 summit and like the worldwide ruling or regulation. I don't know if the U.S. will fall in line with that if that ends up happening. I don't know that I heard they just pushed it back again to July.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see because I don't think it should be treated as a property by any means.
No.
It doesn't make sense. It's the farthest thing from a property. So I didn't get that when they first. It's almost like the people that made the rules and regulations, either they knew what they were doing or they really didn't know what they were doing. There's no in between. Like they knew they were gonna be like triple dipping, or they completely missed the mark. So
I'm thinking they knew only because previously there was a loophole where the property to property or wallet were non-taxable, but the key thing with the new tax plan is they changed it to real property, where they're saying Bitcoin is not or any cryptocurrency is not a real property, so it doesn't fall. You can't use that loophole with anymore.
It can no longer be a like kind exchange, or I believe that's what it fell under.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm definitely not looking forward to doing all the taxes. I'm trying to. I'm holding minimum 40% of everything that I'm generating right now, just and hopefully preparation for what it ends up being at the end of the year. And that's what I tell a lot of people. I'm like, right now it's so early and it's so new with the tax regulation. There's not necessarily right or wrong. I mean, there's a lot of wrong ways, but there's no right way to go about it because you can think you're be doing everything right, but like you said, they can also get you when you're cashing out, when you're transferring it. They were even saying because I use Coinbase some, and I'll transfer inside Coinbase to GDAX, even though that's inside the same company, it can be taxed, and it doesn't. When it goes from Coinbase to GDAX, it doesn't even hit the blockchain. It's transferred inside their network. So I'm like, where where the IRS definitely has their hands in everybody's pockets, but there's got to be some middle ground for sure. Obviously, regulation's got to happen, but I'd say by far right now it is way overextended.
Yeah, I don't think they're bent over backwards to start making it clear anytime soon, especially when they can have so much control over it.
Yeah.
From a revenue standpoint, I mean, because however they interpret the transaction, I mean, that's what. In those cases, you're pretty much guilty until proven innocent. So.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I'm just like I'm not gonna mess with it. I'll probably post a video on what the damage is once I get all it ironed out because I bought so many cards and I found out I guess I didn't realize it, but they don't charge state tax, so I'm gonna have to pay all the state tax on all those cards.
Fun stuff.
At least I got something from them on that. But since I use Bitcoin to pay for most of those, and so it's like, how is that gonna work?
Yeah, and then the current rate at what you were buying it at and exchanging it. Right now, I've been buying all my stuff primarily through Amazon. I have bought a little bit through Newegg, and I was able to. I did my taxes from last year. I was definitely negative. I invested a whole lot more than I made in last year because I got in really late. But the taxes, I ended up bringing it to a friend of a friend of a friend because the first person couldn't really help me. So, and that's another thing. I don't know if your CPA has had you jump around or they've had to, freshen themselves up on it. But not a lot of people want to touch it. Because I've called some tax advisors around town, and a lot of them like they don't even want to mess with it. I don't know if there's like a stigma behind it, or where a lot of people were. I guess a lot of people have used it to launder money. I mean, people look for ways to launder money in every way possible, but
Yep.
I just want to do it 100%, and it took me a lot longer than normal to get everything ready and to get everything turned in, because the person that was helping me, obviously they've only done it for a couple other people, and they were like, dot your I's and cross your T's, because you don't want to leave yourself open for problems, because
Yeah.
that could be it could be bad, because they're like, it's so hard to prove anything without letting them inside and letting them have all your information, and you don't want them to have access to any accounts,
Yeah.
because then there can be so much room for speculation, because because one thing that he got hung up on is, he's like, so the prices never close on these at the end of the day. And I'm like, no, they run like, it's constant 24/7. So he's like,
Yep.
so there's no like end of day price. He's like, I can't go off of that. He's like, I got to go off of like, daytime minute. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm coming to you. So luckily, he got it figured out, and there's some formula that they use, and my taxes, everything went through okay. I mean, I'm still keeping record because they always can come back, but they said it's definitely tighter for the next coming year, and not looking forward to that, but it's still a fun hobby. Yeah. So I'm definitely not gonna go full time into it. There's no way, and I don't think GPU mining is gonna stay full time. It will evolve away from the GPUs, but for the time being, I really do enjoy it. And I know, like, guys like you, and there's a couple other channels, and that have got a little bit out of the like single system. And once you jump out of single systems and you start putting a couple together, and it's fun. It is, especially I'm a big hands-on guy, and the hardware. I love the hardware for some reason.
Yeah. And I don't know. Have you messed with Awesome Miner yet?
I was actually setting up mining the ETN Electronium coin just a little bit to see the profitability on it on Awesome Miner, and I really like the managed profit switching if you let it just kind of do its thing. Is that what you've been using exclusively?
Yeah. I don't know if this will work. Uh, you'll be able to see.
Oh, okay. I see your screen now.
But what I use it for is, so like I have a central virtual machine that I installed the Awesome Miner application on itself. But all the miners themselves, they're all remote. So I use the remote agent for
Yep.
the rest. So that way, because at this point, what I want to do is just try to make it stable as possible. So like when you set up your rules here, you've got your accept process, dead device. I set up a custom one here for low GPU temperature, because I found out sometimes when it won't necessarily detect if it stops mining, but the temperature will go down, and so then I'll automatically get SMS and email notifications, so I know to check it, right away. So I kind of use this as a central management to keep track of everything. And I used to do the auto switching, but I've been my cards, NVIDIA cards, run most stable on NiceHash, so that's pretty much what I have it set up on. And then I think if I always go by Bitcoin, because the price, if I go by price daily, like what you do, I mean, at the end of the month,
It's all over the place.
So different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of, well, what's crazy too is like these here that show like $10 and $9. Those were actually, I think like $60 back in December. So
yeah.
They've come down quite a lot. And then I turned off for this specifically, I turned off the amp miner so it didn't calculate that. But this is showing $8.60, but it's also costing me about $5 a day in electricity. So the profitability on that is like $4. But again, my main thing with it right now is just from learning technology perspective and supporting the network. Um, but yeah, then the PRTG, and that's another thing, because this you can actually use them with Linux stuff too. So because sometimes with the NVIDIA, like for the Win3, they have 3 fans on it.
Mm-hmm.
If I use MSI Afterburner, it will only control 2 fans. So I have to use the Precision X, for example, to make sure all 3 fans are running.
Oh,
And sometimes that software will actually crash on me. So I've got this set up so if that instance stops, I get notified, SMS and email to tell me that, hey, you're not, that program's not running.
Yeah, you're not cooking anymore. So
right. So yeah, so that's kind of what I like about this. And I was going to do some because a lot of the videos I've seen on Awesome Mine are like how to set it up locally and whatever. But I was going to put some out there like to, when you're at the point where you're not adding stuff, you're not tweaking it, and you just kind of want it to run stable for a long time. Longest I've had it so far is 28 days with until Windows forced me to do the updates.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome. Yeah, if you did some like remote how-to kind of installs or like setups, I think that's probably the biggest thing, because in the beginning I was running everything on NiceHash, so I had a copy of Windows on every single computer, and I made the mistake of going with Windows 7 on everything, so I had a lot of issues. Well, I had a lot of issues with keeping the drivers up to date, because it seemed like Windows 10 does a much better job of that, and also running NiceHash just inherently had its own issues to begin with.
Sure.
With the switching of to get it to run most stable, you'd have to turn all the algorithms off and let it just run on one. But if you wanted to capitalize on certain coins like spiking in value, and like late last year, I mean, it'd be very, very normal to see a card go from like a 10.50, $1 a day, sometimes jump up to $2 a day and be making double for no reason at all. Like, okay, it's because just one coin spiked in value today, so it's just churning it out. So back then the profit switching on NiceHash was a lot more worthwhile, but I've worked myself away from that. Do you use NiceHash at all, or have you?
Well, yes, I started with NiceHash, but then with Awesome Miner, you can use all the NiceHash. I mean, because, and that was another thing, is because at the end of the day, all they are is, with the exception of Excavator, that's a NiceHash proprietary program, but it's all using all the same third-party programs if you're mining from the command line. So this is just a GUI interface that's launching those commands for you, and based on, with NiceHash, from my understanding, I don't know how true it is, but supposedly based on whatever the open orders are for people that are renting the hash rate, it's supposed to adjust based on that, like whichever orders are paying the highest. Whereas Awesome Miner is using whattomine.com's API to see what the current coins are, and it's checking in with that site constantly, and then that's how it's used. You can use your own, tweak your own metrics with it too, or use a different source if they have an API for it, but by default, out of box, that's what Awesome Miner is doing. So that's why, because there were some times, especially when Bitcoin Gold came out, NiceHash was extremely popular because people wanted to mine Bitcoin Gold right when it launched publicly. So by mining to NiceHash, I mean, with EchoHash, it just skyrocketed, and for probably 12 hours, it was making like 200 some dollars. It went from like $50 to 200 some dollars for like 12 hours. I thought it was a bug.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the orders, there were people paying, way overpaying for that hash rate, and you outbid each other, so everyone was outbidding each other, and so for that short time, so NiceHash can have moments where it's extremely profitable, but but that's the one exception, because it's based on rental. What's the demand of people willing to pay Bitcoin to rent different hashing rates?
Yeah, definitely. That's where right now, where it's like on a little bit of it's been declining for a while. It's slowly now starting to gain some traction again, but the orders are definitely low. So NiceHash is paying out low, but it's still not paying out like it's not bad. Like I've looked at some other of the one-click miners like WinMiner and Better Hash and stuff, and even MinerGate. Those are like clearly scraping power, like hash power off the top, and they don't even care to hide it. So when you're talking about like a one-click miner, and a lot of people give NiceHash a bad rap because they had the security breach and all that kind of stuff. And I don't necessarily like it, but I do like the software, and I still do run it on one of my systems, the one I'm actually on right now. I have played around, and I am going to be moving into more awesome miner content, because not only is just mining fun, but I also like making the YouTube videos and dealing with the community. So I don't want to just stay stagnant and on the same thing forever. That's one reason why I've jumped into the simple miner, because I was looking at Voscoin, and he was like running like debt. I was looking at one of his videos, and it convinced me to get it because like he hovered over his runtime, like rig uptime or something, and it was showing like 60 something days, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that thing has been running for like how long? And I definitely see like the stability factor of using a Linux based operating system. It blows it out of the water. Like, okay, I just restarted one of my systems, and it was 3 weeks in, and like no restarts, no faults, nothing, and it was just chugging along, happy as could be. So I think that's definitely a way to handle more systems. And the remote agent, is that actually installed? Is it a full operating system, or is it just run inside of a Windows?
It's a thin client, so it's basically a service. So you have a service running in the background, like you can turn on the web IIS on Windows, for example. So you can have a web server running in the background. It's not necessarily like a GUI.
Yeah.
What this does is a service that runs in the background that the main Awesome Miner program talks to through an API, so they can be in different locations or whatever. And then it will automatically download the software, because you can even push custom. You can download, compile it from GitHub. Get your own Claymore or whatever, compile it, and then push it to all the remote locations from the main software. So there's a bunch of built-in with Awesome Miner that come packaged with it, but you can also add your own, put your own custom versions, add your own syntax. It's really powerful. So that's why I think if you understand how to mine like from the command line and how the programs work, there's so much power you can use. Now, granted, to fully benefit, you have to. I got the premium edition, but the reason I got it's overkill for what I need, but it allows me to do 30-day historical data, and I like to look at hash rate temperatures over a period of time, and this is a super easy way to get that. So that's the reason why I went with the premium edition. But it also has a built-in web GUI, so if you're on your phone or whatever, you don't have to check it out. Yeah. Service, you can just quickly, you don't have to remote desktop in. And speaking of which, I was going to say, if you are using Windows, I used nokeys.com, which they have Windows OEM versions of Windows 10 Pro for $11.
Oh wow, okay.
So, and they accept Bitcoin.
Wow.
I purchased some with PayPal and some with Bitcoin, and I had problems with one, and I called Microsoft, and it was legit.
So wow.
Because I guess they somehow. I mean, you can sell them software too, so I don't know exactly what their business model is behind it, because I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, $11. But I mean, they're legit OEM versions, and when I called Microsoft and gave them my serial, everything was valid, so I was like, okay.
It's nokeys.com?
Yeah, nokeys.com. And so what I did is I bought, I think, like end of 10, but then for all my rigs that I virtualized, that's the only thing is you can't upgrade. You have to do a fresh install for it to work because it's OEM. But I mean, anyone that's into virtualization, or because I use ESXi, which is free, and I do have tutorial videos from scratch, like how to install that, build hosts on top of it. People, for the technical people that want to dive into that. Yeah, I mean, because when I started. Even though it was on Windows, it was all command line, using my new tool hub and using some of the there's a PowerShell script that does some of the auto switching, and that's what I started with. Then I went to NiceHash. But NiceHash, I think, is the good entry point. Like if you're not technical and just want to get into mining, kind of learn how it works. But if you then get into the actual programs themselves, learn how that works, then Awesome Miner can, I mean, it'll open a whole lot of doors, and just with the central management makes life so much easier from a management standpoint. And then you're not having to check on it all the time, and you can run a lot of those on Linux too. So
yeah, I think definitely Awesome Miner. And have you messed with any of the other ones like ETH Miner or ETHOS? Yeah, those seem to do really good. Of course, you have a lot of high end NVIDIA cards, so you're not going to be pushing a lot of Ethereum around.
Yeah, they and their support is like through IRC, Internet Relay Chat from back in the day.
Yeah, and, old stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is, like with my 1080 Ti's, it would be a blank screen, and it always says on there, if it's a blank screen at this point, it's a problem with your card, or check your risers, or this and that. Well, I mean, I'd be hashing at, like 800 souls on Windows all day, then I switched to that. I think one of the rigs that you showed that had two hard drives, one of them was Windows and the other one was ETHOS.
ETHOS, yeah.
But I kept having problems with that, and then when I go through the support, they're like, oh, it's your GPU. I'm like, but it works on Windows.
Yeah.
And I switched everything out. And granted, at the time, the 1080 Ti's were new, so and they've had a lot of revisions since then, but I haven't
gone back yet.
Yeah, and I've just been mostly using Windows. Some of my CPU, I do have some CPU mining that are all on Linux.
Have you benchmarked any of your 1080 Ti's, or do you have any also regular 1080s on Ethereum or Dagger?
Well, right now, like for this whole month, because this is the first month I actually haven't done any donations. Usually I donate on the weekends, but like I said, when things were good, maybe after 5 days I meet my electrical costs and everything else was 100% profit. Now it takes me like 2.5 weeks, to meet, to even come close to meeting the electrical, and then anything after that is profit. So I've kind of two things is one, still need to make sure I'm meeting my minimum, but then two, I thought this would be a good point where, since I'm not adding a whole bunch of stuff right now, just to see how long I can keep them running. And the problem I would have is with EquiHash, I get it fine-tuned just right, and I don't do undervolting, I'm overvolting. I'm pushing them as hard as they, pedal to the metal.
I was gonna say, I don't know how you're taking 2 weeks to burn your electricity, but that makes it, that makes sense. Okay.
I'm at like 110-120% on the power, so. I'm because like I said, when I first started this, it's like if it goes to zero tomorrow, I'm just trying to get as much as I can, right? Which I'm probably gonna have to readjust that. But the whole thing with that is when I switched to Libra 2, Rev 2, it would blow up, drivers blow up, and then I'd have to tone it down, and then so when it was switching between those two protocols, it was very unstable. Even if I tried to tone it down. So for this month, I've actually been doing just 100% EquiHash through on Awesome Miner, but using the mining pool hub. And so all the metrics, because that's one thing I'm going to do is, like how you do daily videos, I'm going to do a 1 month summary to show, because my metric from the beginning has always been how long does it take me to get 0.02 Bitcoin. So what I have is, like, for example, I got paid out on the first of this month, but that also includes, from the previous month. So that one, I just have it labeled as like start. And then the next payout was 4 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes. So basically 5 days. And then from that one, it was another 5 days, 5 hours. And so basically it's like every 5 days or so, is what I'm getting with the EquiHash, with all the GPUs. And let's see, the regular 1080s, they're around 580 souls.
580.
I'm just
Okay.
looking at it real time.
Yeah, I'm getting about 560 on mine, but I have mine pulled back to about 75% power.
Okay.
So yeah, I was just trying to save as much. Yeah, yeah, I'll be on in a minute. Dinner's coming here soon. Girlfriend's just
nice.
checking on me. So, but yeah, I actually went the other option. I was trying to pull back as much power as possible to hopefully save the longevity, because I had so many people being like, oh my gosh, you're gonna push them and it'll blow them up and they won't be worth anything. And I think now I could probably start feeding them more power, because these cards, Nvidia and also the the retailers, these cards are not built bad at all. Like I have some MSI gaming cards, and I've become a huge MSI fan after owning some of their hardware. They absolutely do great. Like, they keep themselves cool. The build quality is like bar none. I used to be a huge Gigabyte fan, and I've actually gone away from Gigabyte now, because I bought a lot of their cards initially, but I'm not exactly happy with the build quality.
Yeah, my Gigabyte's running hot. That one I'm always having issues with. And so in a couple more months, then I'll at least have some to say they've been running 24/7, 7 days a week for a year. Because I actually met my goal for this year was to get to 1 full Bitcoin. As I was funny the other day when you were showing your
oh yeah.
I got one too, but then I was like, I have this, but I don't actually have a full Bitcoin yet. So that was like my goal for this year, which actually just hit on Friday. So I'll probably, I still want to see what at least for the next couple months until I hit that 1 year mark, keeping everything fully full throttle. Because also as because other people want to just push it hard. Is it still? Because I pay 13 cents per kilowatt hour here. So yeah, and it's already $500-700 a month off summer months. So I want to at least get the full year in there, and then I'll probably see about scaling them back. But at least then I can say most of them I have are EVGA, but then they've been running for a full year. The fans been fine. I dust them every 6 months. I'll turn them off to
clean them out.
But other than that, I mean, they've been rock solid.
I do have, as for actually, like, because a lot of people say, you run them hot, you get them hot, it'll burn the thermal paste out of them. I've only actually had that happen to one of my cards, and it was it was a Zotac card, but I'm not even going to blame it on Zotac, because I broke one of the my cat broke one of the fins off the fans, and so then that card was always vibrating, and I noticed it was running at a lower RPM because it was not balanced. It wasn't keeping itself cool. When I took the cooler off, like, the thermal paste was just crusty and hard, and there's no way I was making a good connection. I actually just got some of the I think it was Noctua, like MX14. It was like the highest rated thermal paste that I could find that was not conductive, because I'm not exactly 100% confident in my spreading abilities. So if it squirts over a little bit, like they say, like the Quicksilver stuff is amazing, but if it goes over and it makes bridges a connection that's not supposed to be connected, it could be bad. So I'm actually wondering, because I have a couple other cards, mainly my Gigabyte cards, that are running hotter, and they're like, I have identical cards side by side. Like, you should all be the same. So I'm gonna experiment with changing out that and see if it makes a big difference. And I may actually be pulling the coolers off of all of the cards, maybe at a 6-month interval or a year interval, or just see how it is, because I'd rather be a little proactive than reactive, just to reduce any damages. Although I do have to say it, like, these cards have held up a lot better than I did have some of the 6 and 7 series stuff before I got into the newer cards, before I got into mining, because the first thing I was mining on was a 750, and it was actually my backup card when I took my old 6, I think it was a GTS 640 or something. It was an old card, and back when you were lucky to run anything at like 720, and then the 750 came out, and it was like the best low power card you could buy. So I had that, and I started mining on it, and then I started buying more. But I always had heat problems out of my 6 series card, and that was like just playing video games. So I couldn't even imagine trying to mine on a 600 series card. Obviously, they burn more electricity than they generate, but they've definitely come a long way from cooling and the fans and everything.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I would recommend too, because the blowers, I've seen other, and it's different when you overclock, but when you're trying to do 100% or more, those blower style fans, it's really hard to keep them cool. And because I have two Titan XPs, and those are actually, those run hot, and they'll be, because I try to keep everything under 70 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
And those, even with the fan at 100%, will be right around 70. Whereas, and with the 1080 Ti's, I get higher hash rate because I can overclock it better and it stays cooler. So I know the Titans have a good reputation, but for mining,
stay away from them.
It's just, well, it's up to you. I mean, like I say, if you undervolt it and everything, you're all right. But I've just found overall the 1080 Ti's have actually better performance and lower cooling. So, and it's usually a fraction of the price. I mean, so if you get it at closer to MSRP, but even so, like the one I got recently, the For the Win 3 was $1,000, and it's still 1,200 base. And the Titan V, it doesn't like use any power. That thing's weird. I'll have it, 120%, but it will only be using like 40% TDP. It's like, what?
Yeah, that.
So I don't know what's up with that, but.
So you have the newer Titan V? Is that the one you have, or?
Yeah.
And so how does?
I have two Titan XPs and then the Titan V, which is the gold one.
That is that the one that just came out just a couple months ago?
Yeah, I got it end of December.
End of December. How's that one compare to a 1080 Ti? Would you still steer towards the Ti's?
Yeah, well, that's a $3,000 card to begin with.
Yeah.
And now I saw on Bitsby Trippin', and that's what made me pull the trigger, is Bitsby Trippin', he did a live review and got over 1,000 souls. I was like, wow, sweet.
Wow.
So that's what made me, well, and again, I spent 0.17 Bitcoin compared to my 0.33 for the 1080 Ti.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I've tried on 2 different motherboards. I really can't get much more than 800 without it crashing. And that's with the BTC 250.
Okay, so a good motherboard. So maybe just not a great bend model.
The CPU, try different processors, and I have 2 of those motherboards. But maybe it's just luck of the draw on the card. I mean, the nice thing is it hardly uses any power and still gets a decent hash rate. But I wouldn't spend the $3,000.
Yeah.
That was just one of those splurges when I was extremely profitable when it was at 20K, and that, because I was getting 0.01 Bitcoin per day with 4 cards initially, and now it takes me 5 days with 18 cards and including the ASIC to get that same amount. So
yeah, it's definitely fallen from what it was at that point. I think and a lot of people still even to this day chastise me on like the 1050s, but my 1050 system actually has been one of my most stable systems, like bar none. And maybe it was because I could buy everything, it was cheap, and I threw it all together, and I wasn't constantly like pulling and picking parts out of it. But the 1050 system is upstairs, and on 6 1050s it averages just over 1,000 sols on Equihash. And I'm actually just letting those Zencash bank up right now. I'm not mining Zcash, I'm mining Zencash, just off of some stuff that I've watched off of Voscoin. I like that program, and I think it'll do good. And if I only have this small system that 6 1050s actually run off of a 500 watt EVGA power supply. So it's and I pulled the power down on them, and I tried to tweak it to get it as efficient and cheap as possible. So that system's still kind of like I go back to that one. I got a couple of them, and I really like that one. So when the new cards do come out, I kind of everybody's gonna want to see what the big cards are doing, but I want to see what the little cards and then work my way up, because you know, what might be 2050s, I guess, with the new name, or in 2060s. Not to say that I don't like my 1060s. They actually do really good on Equihash, especially for the price that I paid for them. But I wish I would have bought some more of the. If I would have been earlier to the scene, the AMD cards do really well for the money, especially if I could have got them at MSRP. I can't believe like RX 570s are supposed to be like $199. So, you know,
Right.
oh my gosh, if I could buy those at MSRP, I see why people were buying them by the truckload. And, you know, AMD just could not keep up with that kind of that flow. So I imagine they're probably going to have something new too. I can't imagine they'd let Nvidia come out with something new and then not have at least an answer in a short amount of time, because it seemed like
Sure.
the Vegas didn't really pop as much as they were expecting.
Right.
Even on the gaming side and the crypto side, especially now with they say the ASIC, the kryptonite ASIC from Bitmain isn't going to be worth a whole lot, but you know, I don't think Monero still hasn't forked yet. So I was watching that,
Well, I
and
think they're doing it in April.
oh, okay, they have
In
planned for April, yeah.
Yeah.
So if it forks, then yeah, those ASICs will be worthless on Monero, but there are still some kryptonite coins that aren't changing. So it's going to take a lot, because that's what the big thing, the Vega Frontier was supposed to be like a kryptonite killer, and without kryptonite, like, they're not really great at anything else. Compared to like you know, they pull like the same hash rate as like a RX 580 on Ethereum, so it's like, why would you pay all the extra money for, you know, no extra gain? So that's just the whole GPU market, though. I think you got to really be selective.
Yep, and that's why I always trust people. You know, it was simple. I mean, even though I have a lot of big cards, it's simply because I got lucky. I never imagined I'd have a gaming PC with 210 Ti 4.3 hybrids.
Yeah, you never need it.
I mean, that didn't even enter my mind. I mean, yes, I got the VR headsets. I got the Vive and the Oculus, but that was kind of like, that's it, and the so when people are getting into it, that especially now, I mean, the thing is I think Bitcoin's going to do just fine, but just the expectations, because I see a lot of people talking about, similar to what I had about how great it was, but my thing is, don't have that as your bar. My bar was, cool, I might make $100 a month or something, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I took advantage, like when I had when the profit was high, I was like, this is unprecedented. And so I made the decision. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna reinvest all this in GPUs right now, and then at the time it just happened to be 1080s were all I could get on, because all 1070s. But again, that was all luck. I mean, that's because usually they say you have to have money to make, or
You have to have it to make it.
money,
Yeah.
type thing. But it was the time and place. I just got lucky, and was able to do that. So that's why I stress, I wouldn't recommend people just going out buying like top end cards like Titans, or because it's not, especially now with the price. I mean, I actually got those around MSRP too at that time for the bulk. So
Yeah.
that's why I like what you're doing, because it has the lower end cards that are more reasonable and it's still profitable. And the thing is, let's say even if it is like if you're $1 a day, we'll say, but then if the price goes up again, and you haven't spent it, then it's like you get back pay. So it's
Yeah.
just it's a long game. Even though I feel funny because I was able to get that within 6 months, but that's not the norm. But it's still a lot of fun, and it's not too late for people to get involved, even with just a little bit. So I wouldn't let that stuff discourage anyone if you're interested in that and like computers. I mean, if you hate computers, mining's probably not something you want to do anyway.
Yeah. If you're not very hands-on or don't like computers, I don't think it's not by any means a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
And like, even the amount of hardware I've been able to amass from last year to this year was not anywhere near what I was expecting, or I hoped to have this. I was hoping, my goal was by the end of 2017 to have 2 full rigs, and I've already blown, or by the end of 2018, sorry, and I've already blown through that. I have basically like almost 3 full, but my third 6 cards is split between 2 systems right now. And I'm gonna keep continuing to add to it. So it's kind of like just money in the bank, so to speak, right now. But as for power cost, a lot of people don't like that I tell them, oh, this is how much projected I have on my power cost, because they say, like, I guess the rest of the world, I have 9 cents per kilowatt, and apparently I guess that's very cheap.
Yes.
See, I'm in North Carolina, and it's been cheap I've had my house now for 4 years, and before that I rented, and when I rented I always just split the bill with my roommate. So I've never really thought about it like that. But I mean, I was talking to one guy, and he's overseas, and he's paying like 22 cents per kilowatt. So
I think California, some areas there around that too.
yeah, he's struggling just to make up his electricity by the end of the month. And so on that end, it doesn't really make sense to run a huge farm. But like I told him, will you see, if you throw like 1 big card or 2 big cards in your everyday computer that you use, or your gaming computer, you probably won't notice it, an extra $10 or $15, $20 maybe at most on the end of the month. And I mean, it can fluctuate that much just with the natural weather change that we've been going through. I don't know about you, but it was snowing yesterday, and I am sweating today in North Carolina. So like it is all over the place.
Yeah, we had some freezing rain, and like in the 20s at night, and it was like 70 today.
Yeah, all over.
I'm nervous because it's like scorching down there, and it's only 70. I mean, it gets in the 90s, 100s in the summer, and I'm just like, oh man, I gotta come up with something. But that's the cool thing though, is if you're into mining, worst possible solution, you just turn it off. Then you're not making any money, but you're not losing any money. Especially once it's paid for, or if you use something that you already have, which is the approach that I went with. And like with my gaming machine, I just have that mine when I'm not gaming, and brings in, I mean, it's saying 450 right now. That's what it's estimating anyway per day. That's $137 a month if it stays, but it's just like that's more than my YouTube revenue per month. So, and some people, I was even thinking about making a YouTube versus mining profitability.
Yeah, see what it comes out as.
Yeah.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you. Are you an affiliate on Amazon or any other like websites?
I did set up a Amazon one. I don't use it very much.
Oh, okay. Because I did sign up under the Amazon affiliates, and I've noticed I get a lot of traffic through there, and I post all my links, and I do post affiliate links for everything that I look at. But I try to only show off anything that I would personally buy myself. But on that same sense, I have been contacted by Amazon, and they emailed me, and when they did, they said, I'm not exactly following their guidelines, but their guidelines are pretty vague, because they said the thing that they were referencing, they referenced one of my videos where I just showed something, but I didn't talk about it. And apparently, I guess you need to do a review, or at least introduce it. And I didn't know it was that picky, so I didn't know if you were an affiliate and if you had been contacted by them, because apparently it's very, very common. If you watch Linus Tech Tips, he actually got his Amazon affiliate striked and removed for a period of time because the guideline crackdown, as they call it, because I've watched other YouTubers make videos on it, and they've kind of come in and they're really fast to pull any kind of monetization. It seems like that's now the norm. Is we'll pay you later, and we want the exposure first.
Yeah, the only one that would have any significance was, let's see, this one that I had some links. It's got just under 20,000 views, but everything in there, like with the, I think I referenced even like the voltage meter, because that was one of the things. I can set my 13% or 13 cents per kilowatt on there. And so that's why on my rigs, I reset it every month. And then so that way I can see in advance what my bill's going to be approximately. What I do is I pay the whole bill, but I can see how much extra was because of the mining specifically. And that way I can, in real time, compare that with how much Bitcoin I brought in to make sure I'm still profitable. And as long as it meets or exceeds, and I did explain that in that video, so, and I think everything I did do that, but that's good to know. But like I said, I don't usually have a lot of stuff to show.
Yeah. So yeah, now I'm just a little bit more careful, and I make sure if I'm going to show anything, I'll at least show it on the screen and not just talk about it. And I think that's what they were leaning towards. So if
did we talk about that live stream issue?
Oh yeah, also I'll bring that up. We hadn't talked about that on camera yet. That was all off camera. But a lot of people have been asking me for my channel to do more live streams, but live streams have not actually been benefiting a lot of YouTube creators because the current algorithm that YouTube uses, and also live streams are not actively recommended on any of the front pages. They are recommended on the side if you're subscribed to them or you're subscribed to somebody that is subscribed to them. But if it's a channel that has no subscriptions, like through the network, then I've been told that the algorithm will not recommend it, and that's why I've noticed I'll get 100 people in my my live streams and get some views off of that. But then when my live stream gets published at the very end, that live stream is not recommended to like people won't even see it. The only way they can see it is if they go directly to my channel, click on videos, then scroll through it, find it, which is that's like the hardest, worst way possible. And I use vidIQ and also TubeBuddy, and I go in and I'll change my tags, and it says like my SEO score is like high, but I've already done it on a couple videos, and I know what I can get on views, and I know what is average, and all my live streams tank. They'll get 300, 400, 500 views, and every video behind it, I can make a video just walking upstairs showing people like a quick update, which I would think would be less entertaining, and it'll get 3,000 views in 24 hours. So I just wanted to let you know, and also other people know, until they change that, which they have emailed me back on that, because I did ask about it, because I was wondering if it was a bug in the system or something to do with my channel. They are actually implementing on the front page, and it's going to be a live recommended tab, like how they have the like trending and then other blah blah blah. Well, there's going to be a live one, and it's going to be on either the top, one of the top 1 through 3 slots. So hopefully to give light and also to help out more of the live streamers more. And if that ends up being the case with YouTube, I will gladly do more live streams because I really enjoy them. I just feel like I can't, I don't want to keep pushing out content that's not actually going to get seen or watched, because I like live, but then I also like going back and seeing a set history of videos, and if people aren't watching them, then what's the point at the end of the day? So for example, I have a friend that does a lot of live streams, and his channel's actually suffered greatly from it. All his videos that he records and then uploads and does everything before it actually uploads, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is getting your tags, description, title, thumbnail in before the YouTube algorithm grabs onto it all. He'll get a couple hundred views, and he's a small channel. He's under 1,000 subscribers, but he'll get a couple hundred views on a video. It'll be no problem. But he does a live stream, and he struggles to get into the double digits. He'll get 10, 20 views, but he'll use that as a format, because it's easier to grab your phone and be like, all right, well, hey guys, this, and this, and he'll live stream the video and then let it update. And he told me he'll update his tags later on, but then it just won't perform. And I didn't know, I was talking, and you don't do very many live streams, do you?
No, and I started to, because just I've been so busy with work and family life, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll get one video out a week or whatever, and the next thing you know, it's like something comes up, and it's like, wait, where'd the time go?
That's
So
still
I
on there.
thought, and people are asking, oh, when are you gonna post this? Because I'll try to give ideas what I'll be working on, and I'm always responding to comments and everything, even though there's not like daily videos or anything. But I get people asking me, so sometimes it's like, okay, I have an hour, I'm not gonna have enough time to edit and do anything, so I'll just do a live stream. So I did a live stream, and then like you said, one of my subscribers sent me a message like, I didn't get notified, that you're doing that, because they wanted to be in the live chat, so I was doing some Q&A stuff too. But he's like, yeah, I didn't even get notified, and he had to come to my channel to actually see it. So I thought that's what was interesting when you mentioned that, because I was thinking this could be an alternative. I'll just do some random live streams when I know I'm not going to be able to do a fully edited video for a while. I'll at least get some smaller live streams going. But yeah, that's that can be an issue.
I know the live streaming still is fairly new to YouTube. They're stealing a lot of the Twitch people over, and I think they're going to have to reformat it and implement some new things like as soon as possible, or they won't be able to keep that audience and that community. I know I watch Ice Poseidon, which is he used to be a huge Twitch guy, but he got banned off of Twitch, and now he's on YouTube. And on Twitch, he could hold 30,000-40,000 people live all the time, but on YouTube he struggles to stay in the 10,000 range on a daily video, and he said that's due to people not getting notified. And when you get to a certain point, you can have the sponsor button and that kind of thing. So I don't know if YouTube's maybe thinking that if you sponsor, then you want notifications all the time. But if we're subscribed and ringing the bell, we should get the notifications like right then and there. So hopefully they'll address that and fix it, because I do like the live format. It's quick, dirty, fast, and definitely a lot easier than having to edit.
Yeah, that reminds me, it's kind of funny because I never say, like, subscribe, or anything on any of my videos. This is on like it's like if they like it, they'll do it.
Yeah.
I don't have to remind them. Ivan on Tech does that all the time when I watch his videos. That's like, he's always like, smash it. And I was like, last time I did that, buying a new monitor.
Yeah.
But one of the guys that was telling me, I told him, I was like, well, click that bell button or something. He's like, I have.
Yeah.
Really get notified. So.
Yeah, I think the bell was a band-aid more than anything, because a lot of people, I have a lot of YouTube friends and YouTubers, and they say that the bell is just, that was their band-aid, because really there's still so many problems on the back end with the subscribe button, because what is the subscribe button supposed to do if it doesn't notify you? Is it just supposed to keep it in the subscriptions tab? But then you have your subscription feed and it doesn't pop up there. So it's, I think Google's definitely taken a step on the their deep learning and trying to have all this stuff implemented to feed people what they want. But I have multiple YouTube accounts, and it is very clear, like when you watch a couple of videos like this, all of a sudden all your content gets like tunneled in on that. I have one channel where I like to watch a little bit of like the alien conspiracy stuff, because not that I believe any of it, but I think it's kind of cool, kind of funny. People have their own ideas, and on that like YouTube account, which I don't make any videos on that one, that's like my main email account, but all my featured videos are like all weird conspiracy, like flat earth and all this crazy stuff, and it's like I watch other videos on that, but they tunnel in, and then on this account, on my Brandoncoin account, everything is just all Bitcoin stuff. Even though I'll watch some car videos on it, I think their algorithm does get a little bit of tunnel vision, so to speak.
Well, I've even done things. I tried to avoid that using the incognito mode, and then still it'll show recommendation on my normal one. I'm like, oh man, I was like.
There's no incognito. They know it all. They know everything. But it's just kind of funny to see it, and you don't really realize it until you switch an account, and then you're like, because all of a sudden, like, the content will get stale and you're getting recommended similar stuff, and it's like, there's nothing new on YouTube, and then you switch an account and it's like, oh my gosh, boom, like tons of new videos, and it's like, where was this? Like, I'm subscribed to this on the other account too, but since you don't, I think it's, they look at what you mostly look at, but it's not 100%. It's not 100% there yet.
I try to do that because I have a 2-year-old, so when I find like cartoons, or he likes that the Yavis, what does Fox say, or whatever.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That song. But then I try to do that stuff in incognito mode, even not signed in, and then it shows up on my normal channel, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
My son, not me.
It's almost like you needed just a separate channel for, like, cartoons, because otherwise it'll pop up on your normal stuff. But I've had you for a little bit longer than we were expecting. Actually, I don't know. It looks like just nearing the hour and a half mark. I would actually like to bring you on again, and I want to do kind of a collaboration video of working with Awesome Miner, because I want to do some remote stuff. I want to put one of my systems on there, and since you have a ton of experience in it and you already have it up and running, I think that would be a good benefit, especially for the channel, your channel. By the way, guys, if you made it this far in the video, I commend you, because we are an hour and a half deep. Thank you all for watching. WMX's channel is going to be down below. WMX99 is what it is. What does that stand for, by the way?
Webmaster X, back in the
early
90s. Yeah.
So it's an old email, yeah.
It's one from high school, and that dates me probably, but
nothing wrong with that.
96, and it's just one of those that never left, because more people know me for voice and video technology stuff. But it just stuck.
It just stuck.
My channel's a hobby. I don't it's kind of a hodgepodge of different stuff. I mean, I even have some of my old scuba diving, but it's anything tech or things I'm interested in, I just share with other people, and that's what I like about this community. What I was surprised with the Bitcoin community is how willing everyone is to share with everyone and support each other, and that's kind of how it is in the tech realm. And so naturally, I plan on staying in this space for a while. So you'll see a mix of that kind of stuff.
Definitely. I know I'll be around, and I even got a couple ideas that I'm going to shoot to you off camera. But I appreciate you getting on with us today, and guys, jump over there, give him some love, and go to his newest video and comment down below and tell him that he needs to upload new videos, and tell him where you came from, so that way he gets a little bit more motivation, because he's got a lot of good stuff, got a lot of knowledge up there. Everybody needs it, so it's always nice to hear from a new voice, because I'm sure a lot of people are tired of me talking.
I don't think so. I'm not.
But all right, so I'm gonna stop the recording